And welcome back to Northwest Sports Tonight, AM 860. It's time for the Coach's Corner. And while the Beavers struggle at 0-3, in the Northwest Conference, Lewis and Clark, have you seen this? The Pioneers are 3-0. And they've had a great early season, and it could only get better. I mean, they beat Claremont 36-14. Pomona Pitzer, 48-39. That had to be a wild one. And then they went back to St. Paul, Minnesota last week and beat McAllister 37-28. 3-0 for the first time, I think, since 1995 or 1996. Chris Sulages, right? Did I get it right? Is the head coach of the Lewis and Clark Pioneers. He joins us in the studio. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, 96 or 95? Since
Either way, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. It doesn't really matter, does it? But it is 3-0. What's it like to be on campus now, knowing that the football team, people are excited about it again?
It's a great feeling. You know, it's really a good Lewis and Clark campus. You haven't been there; it's really small and kind of a close knit campus, and people are rooting for you, whether it's football or basketball, whatever it is. So everyone's really happy and talking with us and congratulating us and wishing us good luck. And it's kind of a big team effort at the school.
Chris, as you know, I mean, the program has struggled big time, and then you've come in and slowly. It hasn't been an overnight turnaround, but you've got your team on a winning track. What's changed?
I think the obviously consistency. I've been here for, I think this is going to be this is my fifth year. The recruiting piece, it was ever evolving in college football, especially Division III, and I think we've reevaluated every year to stay on top of it. And obviously, recruiting is the bloodline, no matter what level to your program. And I think that's obviously. Good players make good coaches. So,
well, there's a culture on a campus too, and a culture in an athletic department. I mean, there are certain athletic departments that are huge into football, and some that aren't. And I know there was a time when Lewis and Clark wasn't, but that has changed. Is it a different administration, different attitude? Hey, football can create revenue. Football can attract more males to Division III campuses.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the big push from administration, board of trustees, you name it across the board at Lewis and Clark, they're supporting us, and they want to win. They want the highest quality programs on campus, from the English department, math department, to the football program, and that's and they're supporting us really well right now. So.
Well, let's talk about the team a little bit. You're averaging 40 points a game, which isn't too shabby. I know you're giving up 27 per game, but talk about some of the key players. I'm looking at stats, and let's just start at quarterback, because that's what everybody, cliche-ridden world that we are in sports, the quarterback's important. And Keith Welch looks like, well, you've had two different quarterbacks play, but Keith's got most of the playing time, and he has 8 touchdown passes already.
Yeah, Keith is a special player. It's that he's a true, double threat. He can run and he can throw, and he does both really well. He's not just doesn't just rely on his legs. He can sit in the pocket and make the right reads and throw on time, and also tuck that ball and get going. And
is he a big kid?
He's not real big, but he's about 5'10", about 185.
So he's got some speed.
He's definitely got some speed, much faster than me, for sure.
Chris Sulages is our guest here on AM 860 on Coach's Corner, the head coach at Lewis and Clark. And running back-wise, Javonte Mays.
Yes.
And Keith is the second leading rusher, but Javonte has almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns early in the year.
Correct. Yeah, Javonte, who is a local guy from Putnam High School right here in Milwaukee, and he's done a great job. It's his senior year, but consistently he's been all-conference all previous is 3 years, and he does a great job. Speed, and he's a smaller guy too, but he's tough and kicks that speed in. It's fun to watch.
Now, is your roster filled with upperclassmen now, or is it a young team? Talk about the Pioneers, and you got a lot of senior leadership?
We do. We have a lot of senior leadership, which is kind of a change for us, and I think that's where the program has the biggest change, is the experience. Before we had to play a lot more freshmen. Not that we're not playing them now, but we were really heavy underclassmen-wise. Now we got about 15 seniors and some more juniors, and we feel that's the difference, and we feel really good about it.
Chris Sulages is our guest. He's the head coach at Lewis and Clark. We'll continue our conversation, and we'll also update you on that Monday night game as we continue here on Northwest Sports Tonight, AM 860. Coach's Corner continues with Chris Sulages, the head coach at Lewis and Clark. 5 field goals. Now, as a head coach, are you ticked off that you haven't been able to get into the end zone, despite the fact you're only down by 1?
Yeah, it's upsetting for sure, but at the same time, 5 field goals that are good, that's a positive too. So
yeah, but the other
you'd rather have touchdowns for sure.
You'd rather have touchdowns. Red zone conversion rate. How are you guys doing this year so far?
That's a great question. I think we're really high right now, and that's a good thing. I think we just missed one. I think that's it.
Chris Sulages is our guest. He's the Lewis and Clark Pioneers head football coach. Big game at Pacific this Saturday to try to go to 4-0. And I don't know the last time the Pioneers have been 4-0, but Pacific, second year they've had football back, which they've done a great job out there in Forest Grove. Keith Buckley is a good coach. Came out down from UC Davis and has done a fabulous job, but they haven't had a lot of success in the W category, so they're going to be geared up to try to say, "Hey, Lewis and Clark, it's our turn."
Yeah, no, definitely. They're a good team. They're doing a great job over there. I know that staff really well. A couple guys from Portland State on that staff, previous at Portland State, but they're doing a great job, and that's the best 0-3 team I've seen on tape. And they have us circled on their schedule. So they had a bye week last week, and they're going to be ready to go. And we're just going to get our guys ready to go.
Well, you were 3-0. You got to 3-0 last week, and Division III schools do a little travel in non-conference play. I know it happens once. I know the school I went to, Linfield's, traveled this year. But you guys went all the way back to St. Paul, took on McAllister, and came away with a win. What was that experience like for you guys?
It was a great experience for our guys. Take that flight and go play a Midwest team. A lot of guys haven't been, west of the Oregon border probably on our team. So that was really good for those guys to see that and play in another city, see another school that is similar to ours academically and athletically a little bit. And coming out with a W was a big deal. I thought we probably should have played a lot better than we did, but we came out with a win, and we'll take those W's every time.
Well, we were back there in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and the Beavers got spanked around by the Badgers 35-0. And those corn-fed young men on that offensive line for Wisconsin were average about 315 across the front. Was McAllister big too, or
they were not quite that big, but but they grown big back there is right, and their offensive line they had a big offensive line. That was one of our challenges.
Chris, where did you start playing football? When did you play, and where did you play?
Played when I was little, but I grew up in Southern California. I went to Mission Viejo High School, and then I went to Weber State University over there in northern Utah.
In the Big Sky, so you took on Portland State when you were
actually.
Was that before Portland State
I'm a
days?
little bit older, so so I'm not proud of that right now. But
well, no, you are what you are, just like myself.
That's right.
Well, that's all. That's cool. So, I've been to Ogden. It's a great community.
Yes, it is,
and a great athletic tradition there. After you got out of Weber State, where did you go then?
After that, I went to University of San Diego, coached there for a year, and after that, Occidental College, then Cal State Northridge, which was a Big Sky school. We actually dropped football when I was there, unfortunately. And then
that had to be a tough experience.
That was probably the toughest experience I've been through. So just to sit there and have someone tell you that you and don't have a job, one, but then you have 100+ players. You got to find another place to play if you're going to play still, and that was a tough situation to go through for sure.
Well, with Pacific adding football and George Fox is adding football in 2013, there seems to be a resurgence in D3 football in the Pacific Northwest. I know if you go to D3football.com, it's total East Coast bias when it comes to. And I don't know if they've recognized you guys in the rankings yet, have they? Or
no, I highly doubt that. I mean,
it's early. It is early.
Hard enough. Last year Pacific Lutheran was 8-1, and they lost to Linfield, who was 9-0.
And they didn't even get in, right?
And they didn't even get in the playoffs. So that's a tough. It's a big time bias. Everyone who votes and everyone who does selections in the Midwest, and they probably don't even know where Lewis and Clark's at. Or
well, they've got their Findleys and William Jewells, and of course Mount Union and Wisconsin. Is it Stevens Point or Whitewater? Or,
all of them.
Yeah, Wisconsin has just the one D1 school and all these D3 schools and D2 schools. It's pretty fascinating. Exactly. How do you break down the Northwest Conference this year as far as who might have the opportunity to win it all? I mean, if you talked about who are the favorites and who might be the upstarts.
Well, the favorites are always going to be the traditional favorites, which is going to be Linfield and Pacific.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
And no problem. It hurts me. It hurts me inside. But also obviously Pacific Lutheran coming off that one loss season last year, and Willamette, who has a really tough schedule. You can't count them out either. As far as upstarts, obviously I like to put us in that.
I think legitimately, sure.
But you we got to, like I talked to our team, we got to take this 1 week at a time. It's a football season with injuries and different pieces that go into it, and some schemes fit you differently when you go see them. But, we got to go play our A game every single week, and that's what our goal is.
Let's talk about your A game and your philosophy. What do you bring to the program? What is your attitude, not only just on how you treat players and what you want to get out of it for these players, these student athletes, but also what kind of offense you run?
Kind of how I run the program. I believe in a close knit team. Guys, when they come on their recruiting trip and we talk to them, I said, you come and ask me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer whether you want to hear it or not, and everything's kind of on the table. I want to make sure that I think that's the best way to run a football program with young men for sure. But we're a close knit program, and that's the biggest piece. And taking things week to week and supporting each other is the most important piece of it. So. And
as far as when people come out to the stadium, up there in Palatine Hill, I think it is.
It is Palatine Hill.
Yeah, either there or if they went out to Forest Grove to see you guys play this weekend. What kind of an offense are we going to see?
We're a spread offense. We're very similar to Oregon.
Do you have those signs on the sideline with pictures?
We don't.
I'm just kidding.
We don't. But
who wants to copy something like that?
That's right.
It's like,
that's right.
You got to have your own thing.
Definitely. But that's the kind of offense we run. We're wide open, and kind of my philosophy, going back to that first question, to add on with the offense, defense, special teams is, a big thing is, I don't just sit and do what I think is best scheme in the world, but we match our players or athletes with what they do best, and we're going to maximize what they do best every time. We're not going to force feed them something.
Well, let's say, for example, and I this is the way I would run it, and I'm not saying it'd be the correct way, but let's say, your quarterback graduates, he's 5'10", 185, and you recruit a 6'7", 200-pound quarterback as a drop-back pro style. You're going to change things a little bit for him, right, to make it better for him to succeed, and your team.
Definitely, and actually, prior to Keith, we actually had this guy similar to that. He was about 6'1", about 200 pounds or so.
Big guy,
and he can really sling the ball around. But he's not gonna. I might beat him in a race, but no, I'm kidding. But that's what we did. We did some more pro style pocket passing, more of the deep play action under center most of the time. Where with Keith, we're shotgun. We don't even practice under the center. So
shotgun all the way.
Probably, I shouldn't say it like that. Probably about 99.5% of the time we're shotgun. So. Well,
now how deep do you go in the playbook? Halfback passes, flea flickers, Statue of Liberties. I mean, you can go on and on. I know there's some, I'm over there. But you know what I've seen a couple of times? The old truck and trailer is coming back.
The truck and trailer?
You know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
It's like where you throw, a guy goes out about 10 yards, turns like a button hook. They throw to him, and as soon as he catches it, he pitches to a guy running by.
A hook and ladder.
Hook and ladder. We call it the truck and trailer.
Hook and ladder. Yeah, that's always making a big comeback. So.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot lately. Yeah. And what about fly sweeps?
We have some of the fly package in with what we do. I mean, that's a real good fit for the spread offense. And one thing that we have really well, a lot of different guys different ways, but we're really good team speed for our conference. And to use that that's one of our big weapons that we have.
Chris Sulages is our guest. He's the head football coach at Lewis and Clark. And before he lets you go, you must just be having a heck of a lot of fun. What's the most fun you have every day coaching this team?
The reason I got in coaching is to be around a team and to be around those guys to keep you young and have a good time at practice and have a good time at the game. And obviously, when you win, it's a much better time. So that's a priority for me.
Well, I think all I would say is, whoever wins the Northwest Conference this year, I'd like them to end up in Salem, Virginia at the Alonzo Stagg Bowl in the finals. Good luck to you, Chris. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.